What's up, guys? Welcome to day two of our trade recaps. We instantly should be seeing some improvements in the second video. This should look a lot better than before in terms of our smoothness. We should be able to see my camera better. You should be able to see the screen move a lot more smoother. It doesn't look all weird because I recorded on Zoom. Just found a better solution to how it should look, so we should be good on this trade recap. Also, you'll notice I'm in a change of location. I'm at a hotel right now for a small business trip. So, and you might hear some noise in the background. As soon as I started recording, this fridge just started being like super loud. So, hopefully, that's not too distracting for the audio. Hoping that everything's good on this recording, but we should be good to go. As you can see, today was a loss. Today was a losing day, and I'm glad to say that we can go and start this video like this because this whole channel is built upon like honesty and rawness, like I said in the first video. It's I want you guys to see the ups and the downs because realistically no great trader doesn't ever not take losses. Like, losses are a part of the game. This is literally what you should expect to happen as a trader, to find losses in the market. The only thing you have to do is really assess, was that loss a trade that you could have not predicted, but that part of your trading strategy, or did you take that loss unnecessarily? So you're going to see all the ups and downs, the losses that happen, and really just how that affects me in the market. So without further ado, let's just get into it. So this is on NQ. We'll go into really like explaining why I took this setup, and we can talk a little bit more about it. So going into today, like we said yesterday, on the 4-hour chart, really we can start on the daily. What I said yesterday was something along the lines of price can close above these previous highs, especially up here, then we can really see price continue up. As you see on the daily time frame, we were clearly bullish before today. Even on the 4-hour time frame, I was kind of potentially thinking that this could still be bearish because we had this strong drop and break of structure on the 4-hour. So we never formed a new high past this point. So to me, I could have saw this as us potentially in a downtrend, and being on the daily, having bullish bias, 4-hour bearish bias, and the 1-hour. This is honestly going into today. You can look at this as a bullish bias, honestly, forming lower lows or higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. You can look at this as bullish on the 1-hour, and when you don't have all those confluences line up on the trend, you can have some confusion on the charts, much like I had today. Taking a sell in the counter trend of what the market actually wanted to go. And honestly, that's one of the best trades you can take, or one of the best losses you can take. And that's not necessarily that your system's failing or that it's wrong, but it's just a change in direction of the market, and that's not something anybody can predict necessarily perfectly 100% of the time. We can make a great assessment of it a lot of the times, but in some instances we're just wrong, but that's okay. I want you guys to know that a loss wouldn't define you or just make your trading strategy or really determine how good or bad of a trader you are. Even your wins, like even a win can determine if you're a great trader or not, because anyone in the market can win. I mean, the first trade I ever took was a win, but that doesn't make me a good trader. So hopefully it can be a lesson to anyone that looks at losses in a negative manner, because truly that's the best type of trade to like look back and reflect on, because you can always learn from a loss, but it's very rarely that you can learn a great deep defining message from a win. So going into today, we saw price having a pullback in our Asian session and London session, pretty much pulling back from the strong push up on Monday or Tuesday. And if we go to the lower time frames, what do we see happening at New York Open? We see price come and have this strong bearish push, clearing this liquidity right here. This wasn't any strong level of liquidity in my opinion, like this whole little area right here. This was just accumulation in the market before New York Open. And me personally, I wouldn't want to take that buy, even though I really saw how the market was pretty much shaping out at that period of time. I like this setup in terms of a buy if this was like our London low, but our London low wasn't anywhere down here. Our Asian low was somewhere in here in this level. Asian highs, for me personally, I didn't find that trade being attractive enough to find a buy, because I only really like taking liquidity sweeps in our higher time frame or key level zones. So that might be our London high and low, Asian high and lows, or previous days highs and lows. So ultimately, there was a potential opportunity to hop on this buy because as we can see here, we did get a liquidity sweep of this accumulation, and we seen the market have a fair value gap in this level right here. This was a fair value gap right here. So with seeing that, I didn't want to take that buy because I already had a bias that the market was going to push above previous day's high and grab liquidity and push lower if we continue going higher. So I didn't take this trade. Me personally, I found opportunity to enter once we clear our liquidity from yesterday. So once we cleared these highs from yesterday, I think one more high was back there too. Let me zoom out a little bit. So this was a high I had marked up, and it's a little off, but you got the idea. A high from about a week or so ago of just this area, because we saw the 4 hour, like I said before, we were trending down. And to me, I felt like the daily just didn't catch up yet to that 4 hour, and we were going to potentially go lower. But in this instance, I was wrong, and that's okay. Like, it's perfectly fine to be wrong in an example like this. So I'm not too much upset at losing a trade like this. But let's talk more about the confluences I had. So first would have been a liquidity sweep, price sweeping this liquidity and coming back down. So we had our fair value gap, our liquidity sweep. At that point, I'm only looking for a couple other things. So I think on the 30-minute or the 15-minute, no, that's not what I was looking for. Here it is on the 5-minute. We saw a price pretty much break underneath where we seen price take that liquidity. So we see a strong push up and right back down. So I'm like, okay, that really supports our liquidity sweep. If we go to the 1 minute time frame, you'll see that fair value gap that I had marked up. And that was due to just, and it's hard for me to do this without a mouse, but just bear with me, y'all. So if we go down to this 1 minute, after we had seen that strong reversal back down, we had dropped this 1 minute fair value gap. So at that point, I have about 3 strong confirmations. We can even pull out the fib in this example, or our equilibrium, and price pulling perfectly back into, well, where was it? Because we got our entry like right around here-ish, essentially. Here, let's go out to the 5 minute, because that's where I would have pulled it out. But we got pretty much a lot of strong confirmations going into when price came and came back into our current day zone after we sweep liquidity from the other day. And excuse me if I'm tired right now. I literally just came off a flight, so might be a little tired. But we saw our 5 minute pullback, and it came straight into our 50%, which could have been seen as equilibrium. And when price did that, we had this strong rejection candle on the 5 minute. So we got our 5 minute pullback. We got our candlestick confirmation. We got our fair value gap. We got our liquidity sweep. And I think those were all our confirmations. An example, might have said 5 minute pullback again, but we got a lot of strong confirmation in this entry right here. So after seeing all that, I went ahead and put my stop loss above these highs up here. And we were targeting, I believe, just this current day. I think this is like our pretty much exactly where we came from around New York session. So nothing crazy in terms of a target, just where we could see price potentially come back to reverse. But as you can see, price was not ready to shoot back down. It actually shot up for the rest of the day. So an example like this is just a trade that had all of our confirmations, all of our confluences, and yet still end up hitting our stop loss. And that's okay. Like, that's honestly fine. And I think something like this, we can look back and really think like, hey, what could we done different here? And personally, honest with you, like, if I saw the same setup, I might have taken it again, right? Because I trust my confirmations. I trust my system. I know that's just my edge playing into the loss percentage that comes with any edge. So that was still a great trade to take. But in terms of just how, and like I said, we're going to get these ads until we get this payout. So I hope you guys are ready to see this with me. We're not paying for a thing until we get this money out of Top Step. But if we had to look at the market differently, we could have saw how price came in our New York Open, because we were already seeing pushing up past New York session or past London session to continue up. If we still had a potentially bullish bias to at least get to our yesterday's highs, we could have saw how price swept liquidity at New York Open. As you can see right here, price swept liquidity at New York Open, like I mentioned previously. We can look at a fair value gap right here after price swept that liquidity. So there was a potential entry for a buy, and then we have our 5-minute pullback. So this was a setup. Like I would say this was a valid setup right here that we could have taken and given our stop loss pretty much just this amount of room right here and target yesterday's highs. This would have been about a 1 to 2. I personally would like taking at least 1 to 3s. But even if we didn't target or did target a 1 to 3, it would have hit that. We could have even took an entry all the way up to a 1 to 7 if we really wanted to. But ultimately, you know, I didn't like that it cleared just or swept just this accumulation liquidity. I would have wanted something like a London low or Asian low or something. So something like that I wasn't really targeting for an entry, but you know, it was there. And that's something that we can learn from. You know, we can learn that if we see all this bullish momentum continue up, we're not going to just try and sell at the first opportunity. We could have waited for a deeper confirmation. But ultimately, I still would say that I did like this trade. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I still think this was a fantastic trade to take. We just could have saw that opportunity for a buy potentially if that's what we really wanted. But at the end of the day, it happens. This is just going to be a part of the trading journey. Losses are going to come, and I'm going to be very transparent, honest, and open about it. This is a crazy video to record when I'm just coming off of a flight and traveling and working all day. So I might not be getting my point across 100%, but just know that this was a great thing to show because losses are going to keep happening. You're going to keep losing. But because we trust our edge in our system, we know that this is just all part of the process. We know that eventually 1 or 2 losses are going to lead to 3 to 4 or 5 wins. And even if we lose 50% of the time, based on our risk to reward ratio, we can still make a lot of money. So I don't want anyone to think losing is ultimately where it starts to, you know, show if you're a bad trader or not. It's just about how you trade your system, your risk management, and your psychology, and how you manage all those 3 things all in one. So yeah, that's where we are with this. I hope you guys got something out of this video. You might have not because I'm just so tired right now after all this traveling. But hopefully I got my point across enough for you in this video. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next trade recap. Peace.